Mexicans love anime. As a Mexican American that was born and raised in the United States, I didn't visit Mexico until I was 21. Both of my parents are from Mexico, but I was never able to visit when I was younger. My experience with anime didn't come until I was a teenager. I got into anime a year early before it went mainstream because I started watching in 2019. Anime went mainstream in 2020. I did watch some animes when I was younger, but I wasn't aware that it was anime. Those animes were Sonic X and Dragon Ball Z Kai. If you were those kids that watched anime back in the day before it went mainstream, you were considered the weird kid. I remember in middle school we used to have job fairs. Basically, you talk about what you want to do when you grow up, and a lot of kids said that they wanted to be animators for anime. The least we say about that, because we all know that unfortunately these Japanese animators work in harsh environments, and hopefully these people came to the realization. Even if you achieve that dream, hopefully you did. Yeah, you work for a company that actually treats you right. Back to the topic. Mexicans love anime, especially Dragon Ball Z. Just all of Latin America loves Dragon Ball. For those of you who don't know, anime became mainstream in Mexico before it did in the United States. If you're of Mexican descent, I'm pretty sure your parents grew up watching anime. My mom used to tell me stories of her watching anime, and it was like animes I've never heard of before. So when my mother had my oldest sister, she used to tell me that my sister used to watch Sailor Moon back in Mexico when it aired in the 90s. My cousin, who was around the same age as my oldest sister, would watch Dragon Ball. I didn't know there was a Spanish dub for the song Cha La Hechala. I was playing Taiko one day on my Switch, and I was playing that song, and my mom heard it. She was like, "Oh, I know that song. It's from Dragon Ball." When anime came to Mexico, there was no censorship. It was the exact same as what aired in Japanese televisions, but in Spanish, of course. The reason anime was so easily accessible was because it was cheap to get. If you wanted channels like Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon, you would have to pay for that. And most Mexican families couldn't afford that back in the day. The cheapest option to see cable TV was through the antenna, and anime used to just air there because it was on the channels that Mexican shows would just air on. A lot of Mexicans grew up with these shows. Of course, you did have some American cartoons, but anime would air pretty frequently. It was pretty common. The only American cartoon that aired without paying extra was Hanna-Barbera shows and the Looney Tunes. When I visited Mexico for the first time, I saw a lot of anime stuff, even graffiti with anime characters, with the current anime such as My Hero Academia and Demon Slayer. I went to a mall and they had anime stores as well. I went to Walmart and they were promoting this one TV cable thing, and the show that they were playing was none other than Dragon Ball. It was so adorable because there was little kids sitting there around the TV watching Dragon Ball. Goku is an icon around Latin America because a lot of people grew up watching Dragon Ball. Japan once had a lawsuit with Mexico over Dragon Ball because they were hosting a Dragon Ball watch parties at bars for the Tournament of Power without Toei Animation's permission. In typical Mexican fashion, lo valieron because they went on with it. Japan just said okay and let Mexico do it. But they said that they had to mention Toei before they started those watch parties. I know Evangelion is another big one. Honestly, I don't know where that stereotype came from, but it's true. It's damn true. I was once at a con and saw these two Hispanics. I don't know if they were Mexican, so I can't really say, but I remember them having a sign of Rey from Evangelion and the sign saying novia, which translates to girlfriend in Spanish. I know anime still airs currently in Mexico because the other day I remember I saw that they were airing a Shikanaku over there. So yeah, they still air anime in Mexico. I'm just gonna give Dragon Ball its own little panel in this video because I keep bringing up Dragon Ball. That's because it's like the biggest anime in the world. And there's literally Mexican restaurants with Goku in them. You probably can find anything Dragon Ball related in Mexico. I know people be having Dragon Ball parties for their kids. If you've seen the videos online, they be having those. The infamous Taqueria Goku, which is real. I'm not sure where it is in Mexico, but I know it's pretty far. You know Dragon Ball does the world some favors when every time a new episode of Dragon Ball Super dropped, the cartel rates drop. Not even joking. When Dragon Ball Sparkling Zero came out, the top players were either from Japan or Mexico. At this point, Goku is a Mexican icon, and he's not even from there. He's an icon alongside with El Chavo del Ocho and El Chapulín Colorado. While recording this video, I did some research, and supposedly Dragon Ball got a second chance in the United States because of how popular it was in Latin America. Sailor Moon and Saint Seiya are another animes that are popular in Mexico. I never heard of Saint Seiya until I saw a video about anime cons in Mexico, but I know a lot of Mexicans do cosplay for those characters in that anime. Mexico is a big market, and I know Japanese artists are now going over there. I'm happy for my fellow Mexicans getting stuff now. I know Otto and Lisa are both going there soon. Latin America deserves more stuff because they've been consuming anime for years. I know United States is the more well-known country in the continent of America, but Latin America deserves to be recognized. Anime movies also air in Mexico. When I was there, they were promoting the Haiku movie. A lot of people argue which is better, sub or dub. In my opinion, I prefer sub. But if I was gonna watch any dub versions of anime, I would watch it in Latin American Spanish. Latin American Spanish subs are as good as the Japanese versions. There's two different dubs, of course, because there's Spain Spanish and Latin American Spanish. The one I watch is Latin American Spanish. There's two different Spanish dubs because you have the one from Spain and Latin America. I watch the Latin American ones because I'm Mexican and I understand Latin American Spanish more than Spain Spanish. Our Spanish is notorious for a lot of slang and it's completely different from Spain, so that's the reason why I brought that up. Spanish is so complicated because every country says different words and they word things differently, so yeah, it's all over the place, honestly. I saw Chainsaw Man in Spanish and let me tell you, that dub is so hilarious because you have to understand Spanish to understand the jokes they be making. It's so hilarious. Another one I saw in Spanish was Fearin', but I didn't finish Fearin' because I got too lazy to continue with it. So I deeply apologize for your Fearin' fans. But it's crazy how our next door neighbor and people across our continent they've been consuming anime for years, and we just now, you know, got a taste of it now. Oh, some people have been consuming it for years in the United States, but anime wasn't easily accessible as it is now. Of course, back in the day you did have 4Kids, but it didn't air like occasionally. It was rare that it did air on Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon. But it's kind of crazy how far anime has come in the United States, even though it's now easily accessible now through Crunchyroll and streaming services. It's crazy how long Latinos have been consuming these animes for years. Anime has played a huge role in people's lives and will continue to do so. It brings people together no matter what race you are. If it weren't for Mexico or Latin America, I don't think we would have had the current anime craze we have in the United States. Gracias a todo mi gente de Latinoamérica. Viva Mexico. I know I went off topic on the last part. I deeply apologize, but that was it for my video today. Thank you so much for watching it. Continue to support me, like and subscribe, and I will continue doing more videos like these. It was really fun to make, and I'm gonna continue doing my best to make these videos. They do take a while to make, so please be patient. I just want to say thank you so much, and bye.